You're now tuned in to The Twisted Truth with Corey Wesley, where everyday conversations take an unexpected turn. Entrepreneur, artist, author, and truth seeker, Corey Wesley is here to challenge the way we think, question the norms, and bring fresh perspectives to life, business, and beyond. With unfiltered discussions, special guests, and real talk, get ready for a show that's bold, insightful, and always a little twisted. Buckle up, because the truth isn't always what it seems. And now, here's your host, Corey Wesley. Welcome to another episode of The Twisted Truth with me, Corey Wesley. Today's topic is going to be an interesting one. It's a little personal, and it is going to be for the adults only. I guess we should really be calling this After Dark, or Let's Talk About It. Fantasies. And I'm talking about folks' fantasies, not my own. A few weeks ago, I met someone, and I really thought it was going to be a great experience. The experience, because aesthetically, fun as hell. And even the conversation that we had, chatting and stuff, was very enticing. And I was like, wow, this is going to be really hot and sizzly. And one for the books, Well, let me tell you. I find it to be quite disturbing when someone has a fantasy that, and let me, paraphrase, mommy's away and daddy's coming in the room and daddy wants to play. Doesn't that sound like molestation? Yes, I thought so. And I had to ask the person to leave, and they were very shocked that and the reason why I asked them to leave is I was trying to engage with them and explain, well, that's kind of a dark fantasy. And I think, look at what we're talking about now with the Epstein files and pedophiles and all these things happening to our young boys and girls, right? That adults are taking advantage of them out of a certain age. And I just feel like that's a very damaging and scary thing to talk about. And even if a parent is molesting their own child, that's scary. And how can that be your sexual fantasy? And obviously I'm an educated and an intelligent human being, and I have read, in my eyes, I find that to be that they're normalizing a trauma that has been inflicted on them or somewhere or another, and they haven't truly processed it, because I don't want to have that fantasy. Now, yes, let's now be, honest here. Fantasies can be stimulating. I mean, I would say more of adult fantasies, maybe. Okay, well, I'm just going to make this up. Now, it might not be, because I'm not a fantasy boy. Before I even give you the fake fantasy scenario, I'll give you this context. When someone asks me, and that's asked me in bed in a very compromising situation, what my fantasy is, I generally have to stop and look at them and say, why do you want to know? Because he's not you. Oh, now I know you sitting there saying, oh, that's kind of harsh. Well, and that's true. I mean, and I really believe that. Like, why would you want to know my fantasy? Because that guy that I'm fantasizing about ain't you. And see, I think where it may be, as I'm now verbally hearing myself talk, I do understand that it's more about they're asking about the act of the fantasy versus the person. But to me, my fantasy is about the person who might be stimulating me to do an act that I might not normally do. Like maybe the fantasy, because I really don't. I have fantasies. Not let me not lie, but I think my fantasies are more reality based, and I'm not gonna get into that right now. Well, I guess I should, because we are talking about fantasies. I can't stem away from it, but not to get off course. We'll come back to that. I know y'all will remember. You will tell me in the comment, oh, you didn't cover that. Go back. Part two. But anyway, the thing about it is that what I was saying was, before I preface it, the fantasy, I'm bad at it, in a sense, because my fantasies are probably closer to reality than something that I can't achieve. And I think now in the queer community, the gay men specifically, they go out and do everything they want to do, from groups and threesomes and orgy types and having intimacies with a sling and bondage and being tied up. I think more gay men have ventured. So when it comes to a fantasy, isn't a fantasy supposed to be something that you haven't tried? So anyway, getting back to what I was going to say is, with the mommy's away, daddy. Now, yes, what I was going to say in my example is, okay, let's say I'm a NFL football player and the coach, you know, um, you want to make a role play like that. Possibly, or why can't it be the delivery man? He's delivering pizza and y'all are flirting. And even the stories of the Uber drivers. I can go for that. But I really can't go for mommy's away and daddy wants to play. Ooh. Mm, wow. That's kind of, I was like, oh, that rhymes. But no, I find it to be disturbing. And why I asked him to leave is because when I was trying to have a serious conversation about it, he chuckled and told me to calm down. Mofo, don't tell me to calm down when you sitting up here fantasizing and just repeating it and going through the scenario that was so, like, I don't understand how you could be so specific about your fantasy that daddy's away and mommy's away and daddy wants to come in and play and you want to be. I don't think I wouldn't want my daddy, my father, who helped give birth to me. I don't want him coming in and play with my ting ting. I don't think the daughter want her father to be playing with her hoo ha. Why is that your fantasy? And I find it to be very interesting when people, in those moments, sexual moments, where they say, oh, well, it's just a fantasy. No, it's not just a fantasy. That's some warped ass stuff. Just like when we talking about these people that go and do mass shootings and they show signs, right? And we ignore those signs. I can't be a participant, an accomplice to someone's dark, dirty fantasy. To me, that's just uncomfortable. Just like nowadays, they have, master slave. Okay, fine. We may not want to go too deep into it, but again, context. A Black person, I don't want to play master slave. That shit is real. And then it's like, it's not that it's mocking it. And I find that people will judge you because you have an intellect about it. And this is what I'm starting to learn about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is about not just being available for love and understanding, like, your love language. Emotionally intelligent, or emotional intelligence, is also understanding that the dynamics that happen in intimate relationships in bedrooms, meaning the dialogue, the language, the tone that we use, it is still a representation of who we are. It is, and now I'm really been, put against the wall to now not people say, "Oh, well, it's just an act." No, no, no. I cannot believe that anymore because there is such a thing of transfer of energy. And now you're changing energy with someone, exchanging energy. And I being a spiritual person, I believe that you're taking, if you're letting someone insert you, or you are inserting someone, or you just kissing or whatever, I just feel like you are taking on their energy. It is going in you. And I think we all, whoever you sleep with, just a stranger or a loved one for who you've been with forever or a few months or whatever, a piece of that person stays with you. I believe that wholeheartedly. And that's why I tell people that you have to hook up and be around people who have positivity. You cannot, and see, and I feel like sexual experiences are very dark in the gay community. I was straight for one time or another, but I find it to be that the energy, and that's the most vulnerable, I think, because your clothes are off, you're having this orgasmic experience. Hopefully, you're having that orgasmic experience, and that's spiritual to me. That's energy. We're energy. Our human bodies is the human experience, but our souls and what our eyes. That's why I say you got to look in the person's eyes because you see into their soul. Because I never really understood why people online would say, "Well, I want to see a picture without sunglasses," because I like sunglasses. But now I'm starting, as I'm now in my 50s, not mid yet, but early 50s, that it's important to see through someone's eye, see their eyes. But you also now have to listen to these MFs and their twisted fantasies. Some of them are quite twisted. And he got upset, and his snarky laughter just kind of ticked me. It was a very he triggered me. And I know it was a trigger, but he wasn't a person that was going to receive the message with that snarky laughter, like calm down, like it ain't that serious type of laughter. And I wasn't molested when I was well, my cousin did try or had done stuff to me, and see, and even in that context of me just saying it, it's hard for me to say because he did molest me. And wow, I'm having a moment here. Yeah, he did. And I have to be honest about it. He also did it to my cousin. She and I have conversed about it. I had two cousins um, mo- do molestation, and it's uncomfortable. And see, for me, I didn't even use the word molestation when I described it. I mean, and even I actually, it's three of us. And it was, and I hate to really bring it up, but it was her. She's my cousin, and I don't want to say anything, but he molested his sister, and no, it's just people don't believe you and stuff like that. So anyway, that's a whole other topic. So I do have family members, including myself, that was molested. But I really have to be honest, I have met many people that had that fetish, but it never triggered me as much as it did this time around. And the reason why is because I'm really present. I think now I really understand the power of our words, the energy that we're around, the spaces we place ourselves in. And I just understand, that. And I know people, my friends and I have just had a conversation with my friend about, I don't want to talk about race all the time, although it is an important topic. I think we do brush it off, but I don't want to be like eccentric about it that, oh, it's just all about black and white. Sometimes to me, it does have that. But, these fantasies, like, daddy's away, mommy's away, daddy wants to play, or um, I want you to abuse me and humiliate me. Why do you want someone to humiliate you? I don't understand. And I'm not trying to judge. I really am not. But it's hard for me because to, I just feel like intimacy is a loving experience. It can be an act, but it's an act of, because I say, everybody has needs, right? And unfortunately, in the gay community, we don't date anymore. I don't think anybody dates really, across the board. But gay men don't ask someone they like out. A lot of gay men have a warped view, like, oh, men can't be monogamous, so we're just gonna be free spirited, which is fine. I mean, yes, we see it in the heterosexual, we see it in the gay community. People can cheat, people don't cheat. I just don't want to debate whether or not people can be monogamous or not. I think it's a choice. Because when you want to take your pants off, you take your pants off, okay? You know that you're in a relationship and you ain't with your wife or your boyfriend. You taking your pants off, you know you're not with your spouse and your partner. So you know what you're doing. And if you got to sneak around and you got to hide and you got to be in a different place and you got to get a hotel and you got to make up a lie, that's cheating. And that's a choice because you're making all those choices. Because somewhere in that moment, you say, I shouldn't be doing this. I've been there when it's with, substance abuse. I've been like, I have had many relapses and I'd be like, I shouldn't be doing this. But then you know what I do? I have made a choice and I did it. So these are choices. And so getting back to this fantasy thing, you know, I don't understand why you want to be humiliated. I have met many gay men that want to be like roughed up, you know, um, s- um, you know, just just to be rough or and I don't want to be very graphic, but pound me. And I understand, yeah, you want to just, give it a little hit here and there, but then you want to be treated with respect. And I wonder, I'm not, and I need to do more research on it, but I wonder, is that a reflection on how you feel about yourself when you want another person, someone you barely even know, to like rough you up? See, and I think, honestly, in my own personal opinion, because I'm good at what I do, you know what I'm talking about. I'm good at what I do. You don't, you don't feel like you deserve love or you respected, or value yourself, or the way society, maybe your family or whatever that might be, has rejected you being gay, that now your sex has to reflect that. I don't know. And I'm just I'm honestly saying this as a thought. Sorry guys, the ambulance is going by New York. Um, when somebody wants to be humiliated, they want to be talked down to in a place where I just feel like that's a place of love, like, I guess. And maybe that's my own little fantasy because um when I was in therapy once, the therapist said to me that my fantasies were close to reality because they don't happen to me. So, for example, if I may be interested in more Caucasian men, and unfortunately in our society, there is not a lot of Caucasian gay men who are either attracted to because just they're not their attraction level, or that they have this cognitive bias of Black men. And you can read my book, it's on Amazon, about fetishization and Black men, because in porn, Black men are perceived as aggressive men, like this hyper toxic masculinity. And I have never, that's why I don't participate in it or watch it. I've never really watched it. I mean, I've engaged in it obviously to create my opinion about it, but then meeting Caucasian men throughout my life, they have been given information or shown an image or a stereotype or a bias of a Black man that is very outdated, is very harmful. And unfortunately, because that's their education, because obviously with white guys who lived in other places, other regions, meaning middle America, the South, and they go to bigger, large cities to be themselves. I always say they come with their biases, their teachings. That doesn't erase who taught them, who raised them. Those thoughts are still there. And there are a lot of in New York, just like in Sex and the City, and when they had friends living in New York, you should have at least one Black friend, I would say, right? I mean, not necessarily. I mean, because obviously we stay in our communities, but I would imagine it works. You have a little work friend or whatever. But a lot of my people that I have met, Caucasian men, gay men specifically, a lot of them don't have Black friends. And their viewpoints of Black men are very negative, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Did you hear what I said? And so, you know, this like, and then, the other thing, it's like, oh, rape my, and I know it's just a word, and maybe I'm overthinking it, and maybe I am just too intelligent. But these words carry power. When someone says rape my ass, my a-hole, or, give it to, I'm not, you can say give it to me, but not effectively hurt you, and my thing here is, as I've shared openly that years ago, maybe 4 or 5 now, thankfully, and I passed. I met one person. He came to my house. He did GHB, white guy, passed out. I'm gonna make this short. He then left. He called me. Thought I was really nice. I handled the situation pretty decently because he passed out and woke up and left. I didn't do anything. So he invited me to his house, and he called me 7 times, invited me to follow the weekend, and I kept saying no, 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 because he lived in the Bronx, and I didn't know the Bronx. And I was very, and I did maybe have a negative bias of the Bronx, but I grew up in Manhattan. I'm a Manhattan boy. So, make a long story short, um, very bad situation happened where, this is when I was participating in substances, and the liquid of a pipe fell out. It was heated. It hit me, hit him. He said I assaulted him and did it on purpose. And then eventually he went to the police because I was not breaking, but his bullying, and he had me basically reported me as assaulting him, which was a lie, and I had to turn myself in. That's another thing that's in my book. You can read it. But what I'm trying to say here is his privilege did not change in the bedroom. And see, people want Black men to be, white men specifically, have this image of having Black men to be aggressive. And that's the image that has been fed to them. And so when they are going into these moments and situations with a Black man that they don't interact with them on a daily basis, that is their image. That's what they want. And they don't realize that that's the very thing that gets Black men killed in society. That people feel that Black men in general are a threat and that they're aggressive. So why would you want to carry that in the bedroom? And see, this is where I get nervous. I don't care. And this might be an unpopular opinion. And I know it's an unpopular opinion, but it goes, and I have my own experience of dealing with some, unfortunately, racist, biasly racist, and white supremacy racists, who really devote their ideas to um demean, to just use a Black man for his services, um, and get what they want out of him, and then just basically disregard him. Because It's where they treat a black man like he's an object. And so my unpopular opinion is, if a black man is going to be aggressive with you in the bedroom, do you want him to be aggressive with you outside? And the answer is usually no. So why are you asking for someone to be aggressive to you? And here is my theory too, is why I get scared of that. And this is why I don't play the rough roles. I don't be hitting nobody, especially when it's in the dynamic of a black man and a white man in a bed. Yes, it may be consensual. And I can hear you now. Well, it's two adults, and if they agree to it, it's just sex. People just like it. Okay, wonderful. So the white guy in this scenario now asks, hit me harder, harder. So he's doing it. The black guy's doing it, right? On the ass, hit them. Yeah, they getting it in, right? So then what happens is, it gets he's heavy-handed. Have you heard of that term? Heavy-handed. Some people might not know their strength. The black man might not know his strength and hit him harder. Oh my God, it's too hard, right? So now he's got a red mark. So sure, the black guy responds, apologizes, whatever, right? But maybe it's not in the tone that the Caucasian white person likes, because maybe now we have crossed over into, like the person accused me of assaulting him when I did, that it went a little too far. And see now, because the white guy now is hearing something in his own mind that, oh, okay, well, I apologize, sorry, and maybe have an attitude because the white guy asked for it. And generally, I have been in that position where the person has asked for it, and I'm not doing it. But see, in this scenario that I'm providing you, okay, so now the white guy's angry because he don't like the way the black guy responded to him. Because unfortunately, we have this power dynamic. I've written about it, I talk about it, but here we're going to talk about just the power dynamic. Let's take, obviously my best friend and I have talked yesterday, and he was like, well, yeah, everything's not about race, but yes, there is about race, because it's a power dynamic. In that moment, the white guy now, because they have been fed that they're superior, and and everything is, they take things for granted, and society believes everything they say, not always, but believes their context of their struggles, that now those those biases that were kind of maybe put aside to get it in with the black guy, those start rushing in when the black guy has a tone, or raises his voice, or feels attacked because, okay, maybe I hit you a little hard, I'm sorry, and it was in the moment. But now the white guy's like, I don't like that attitude. And then he has a mark on. And then he can go straight to the police and say this black man assaulted him. Now I can see and hear all of y'all out there, and I really don't care for the ones saying, oh, nobody's going to do it. Oh, they're not going to do that. I live it. And please don't tell me that, because that's not true. Because as I have learned, I have white friends that I know their heart and their purity. There are good white people out there. They are. Like, they're good black people. There's some bad black people too. Just like there's some bad white people out there. Look who's in the White House, but that's a different story. Other than that, we have once crossed over into a world where we have been drowned with the white privilege, white privilege, white privilege. See, what happened is, prior to that era, there was only a small population. Maybe the white folk, the good, some white people knew that they could do that, but they, in their heart, I wouldn't do that to a black person. That's not right. because they know they have sense and they have morals and have value. I get that. But then there's those people that, a small population of people that knew that they could use that privilege, and they used it and they exercised it. We can go to history books and see people getting falsely accused by white people, black people being falsely accused, serving time. We have data on it. So we cannot argue that that's not true. I know it's hard to it's hard to believe that that is real. It's hard to believe that people do that. And I don't always think that that's the first intent. Let me preface it that I don't believe that that's always their intent. But just in that moment, in that example, he didn't like that tone. Maybe the black man raised his voice a little, or just had attitude. Okay, I was asking. But you asked me to do it. I got carried away. And now, but you didn't like it. The white guy doesn't like it. He has more power now. And then if he has a mark on his body, he could go straight to the police. There's a mark on his body. And the way society rolls, that black man could potentially serve time, get probation, whatever. It's horrible to say, but like I was saying before I kind of got distracted, is that, early on, there was a time when there was only a small population of white people that understood the privilege, would exercise it for whatever reason. I don't want to debate it. It is what it is. And I know it's hard to believe that people did those things. Yes, they did. But then what happened? We went to the era of white privilege, white privilege, white privilege. Now all white people know it. All white people, just like they didn't want to listen to black people, as we said. People are discriminating. It's hard out here for us. But now it's all in their faces, and now even some of the white people are getting treated like the black people, and now they are saying, oh, that's real. It's happening to me. Right, but we've been telling you that. So my point is then that black person who now engaged in doing something that white person asked them to do, but because the outcome did not turn out pleasant or didn't, for whatever reason, because remember, we started off with 2 consenting adults. Now that white person goes and has marched and just maybe be pissed. And maybe it's just the reaction he has, but that reaction, maybe he goes to the police and feels like he was attacked or this guy was aggressive with him, but he forgets in his anger that he asked for it. And yes, maybe it did get a little carried away, but you started asking. And yes, there's no rules here. And now this person does that in anger. You can't reverse it. Well, I mean, yes, you can not press charges or whatever. I get that. But once you do it, it's just like they can exercise their white privilege anytime they want to. Now, I'm not saying that all white people will use that or go intently to setting out to do that to a person of color. But unfortunately, because we've drowned in our society and been showing pictures and we've seen it. And I don't like the word Karen. I just think that's insulting, but it's just people that just do bad things. Everybody, but the Karens out there just knowing that they're just making a big stink out of something. And sometimes the black individuals don't always have representation, don't have the means, and also already has the system set up so that it does not allow for fair, I guess, I don't want to say trial because I don't want to take it that deep, but sometimes a fair, honest appeal to men and women of color where we are then ostracized. And so my point is that, it's a risk. And so, I just don't lately have, not enjoy intimate moments with Caucasian men because of these twisted, horrible fantasies. It scares me. I have to be honest with you. It's alarming. And because people are making it seem like this is normal and it's okay and it's just words. I know. I mean, these are triggering. And my thing too is like for the gay men in the world, the queer community, we're meeting on these apps. We don't know each other. You give a couple of likes and this is what dislikes, but we don't know people's background. We don't know what. And you going in somebody's bedroom and you then saying, rape me, but they were raped as a kid. You might be triggering them. And the after effects of what you just put in that person, you on gone. You ain't even thought about it. You ain't even asked. Is it okay to use that word? You never asked. And this is my argument with a lot of people. They do not ask. They assume. They assume. They go in thinking everyone is like the word monolith, that everyone is the same. And no, and I always tell people, as they say, top, bottom, you smart. You know what that means. The person on top, person on bottom. Right. All tops do not get turned on the same way. All bottoms do not get turned on the same way. But people go in assuming because they're in their own heads and it's a me moment. And this is why I say, are you good in bed or are you bad in bed? And most people would say they're good in bed. And half of them people are bad in bed because nobody would tell you if you were bad, especially in the gay community, because you only meet them once or twice. and usually if you're bad in bed the first time and they like you, they don't want to see you again. See, I would venture and say, okay, that was a bad day, but I really liked him. We're going to try that again. And we might have to try it 3 times and it might be the bomb the 3rd time. But my thing about these fantasies, they've gotten out of control. Like I said, from the rape, humiliate me, abuse me, use me. I'm just like, where does this come from? This doesn't sound exciting to me. It's not appealing to me. And maybe I'm an oddball. And maybe I'm just an overthinker. We've been so conditioned to just say these things and not realize that, everything matters. Everything matters. Just like everybody want to say Black Lives Matters, but blue matters and all that. Everything does matter. I mean, and all the words that you say does impact people, whether you like it or not. And just because of you in the bedroom does not mean that your words don't matter to the person. And it doesn't matter, and your fantasies that you're injecting into somebody that are very twisted and very dark and very unhealthy, in my opinion, shouldn't be celebrated, tolerated, or ignored. And maybe I have come to a place where, and that's what I'm struggling with, that how do you get to the place of it's just sex? I don't know. I'm going to leave that there. How do you if in the context of what I was sharing today, I do want to ask you, and if you can want to comment below or just leave a comment under the podcast, I would love to hear what you think when it comes to these type of fantasy, molestation fantasy, rape fantasy. How do you get to a place in those contexts to just say that it's just sex talk and that it's okay? I want to know, do you think it's okay? And am I overthinking? And if I am overthinking, how do I stop overthinking and allow that person? But do I have to participate in that? Because I feel like then because that really does happen to people. Women are raped, men are raped, children are molested. Why are we celebrating? Why are we having that as a sex fantasy? Well, anyway, thank you for listening to another podcast of The Twisted Truth with me, Corey Wesley. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. I'm really trying. I mean, this podcast thing is slow up and coming, and I get discouraged and I just want to give up, but I fall back, but I get back up. And I just need everyone who's listening, if you listen to the end of this, please help by sharing. You can donate on my website, even $5 or whatever, because that does help with the expenses of keeping the services and things up. Well, anyway, wherever you are, morning, night, noon, afternoon, have a blessed day. Remember to love yourself, trust yourself, believe in yourself. Your gut will never lead you in the wrong direction. So listen to it. And remember, today is the best day ever. You know why? Because you are a part of it. Thank you again for listening to The Twisted Truth with me, Corey Wesley. That's a wrap for this episode of The Twisted Truth with Corey Wesley. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with someone who needs a fresh perspective. Remember to stay curious, stay bold, and always remember this: the truth isn't always what it seems. Until next time, keep thinking, keep questioning, and keep twisting the truth. See you soon.